Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Thank you, friends, for joining us on part 2 of this Star Wars Spectacular. I'm The Good Brothers. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, as always joined with the Good Brother himself, Alex Mercado. What's going on, good brother?
What's good, good brother?
Everything is everything, my friend. I am excited. Let's get right into this thing. Alex, we have finally made it. It is the week of Star Wars. The critics are already watching it. People are already talking about it. We get our chance to be in the movie theaters in just a couple of hours. Dude, how are you feeling? Before we start talking about the classics, how are you feeling heading into Star Wars week?
You know, it's funny. I think I'm trying not to get too excited, but it's like a certain sense of giddiness almost. Like you're a child again. I'm like, you know, I've been to tons of movies our whole life. Like, that's not in question. It's the fact that this is the only movie I've ever been to that got an applause at the beginning and end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like people went into this, like, this is like, the movie theater's packed, like, you know it. Like, you buy your tickets. Like, these went on sale 30 minutes before halftime of Monday Night Football, and they were almost sold out.
That was a moment.
And we went early. Like, if it wasn't for Nikki saying, hey, maybe we should get on early, and we found out, oh, no, like, they're already buying these tickets. Like, we can get them. And it's just crazy to me. Like, yeah, like, I think I'm trying to maintain until, because you get so giddy sitting in the seat. And, you know, 30 minutes of previews. And, you know, once you hear, you know, that opening intro and then the thing starts to come down, you know, like I said, it's applause. Like, people are applauding this movie.
You know, you're just living for the John Williams Open.
Like,
that's all we're waiting for, man. We're all waiting for John Williams.
And, like, as soon as you hear it, like, you know, even a non-Star Wars fan like Cisco appreciates that moment of, like, man, this is really important, isn't it?
It's the event. It's the moment. We're here. And, Alex, it all started from one little independent flick by some little college nerd and a couple of no-name actors
from California.
It's Star Wars: A New Hope, not known as Episode 4. A New Hope.
A New Hope. Just
a New Hope.
Obviously, we didn't have to add numbers until we got, you know, we found out, hey, we're going backwards, so these have to be 4, 5, and 6.
So
no problem.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. I mean, this is arguably one of the most beloved films in all of cinema. I mean, it's one of those rare things where all I need to say is Star Wars, and you think of Luke looking up at the sun.
Exactly. It's on that list of, like, Casablancas, E.T., Jurassic Parks. Like, it's so Jaws. Which obviously most of the same directors on these movies. You know, it's so legendary. Like, the characters, the visuals, just, again, we said last episode, this started everything. Like, this maybe didn't start the summer blockbuster, but it defined it as what it could be.
Yeah.
And, like, look at to this day, like, this movie's already projecting the new one to make over $200 million opening weekend, and, like,
which is unbelievable.
Which is crazy because they're predicting that. So our predictions are always lower than you think, unless you're DC.
Yeah, unless you're DC. Let's take it back, Alex, on Episode 4 a little bit. Let's go ahead and rewind it. Let's take a little bit more of a micro look at what this movie meant. Like you were saying, it's one of the founding fathers of a summer blockbuster, right there with Jaws and Indiana Jones movies. How important do you think A New Hope was? Because, like, obviously it's a movie. You can poke holes in an older movie.
That's the lazy man's job.
Yeah,
that's easy. Like, obviously, it doesn't look good. This might not age well. But it does, you know. I'm sorry, it does
hold up. Yeah,
it does.
Like it holds up, and it's
a hero's journey.
It's when one of the first class I ever took of script writing, the movie that they show you an example is A New Hope, because they're like it's the perfect example of the hero's beginning, their hero's middle, and their hero's end in one fluent story. Because Luke Skywalker goes through the hero's journey that we will see forever and ever now in cinema. In A New Hope.
Exactly, and we saw heroes' journeys from westerns, from samurai films, from which is where they get their influence from. Yeah. But this was the first sci-fi. So not only are we seeing a hero's journey,
icon.
We're seeing this crazy new outer space, you know, far, far away.
Space opera that didn't exist before, like the Flash Gordons.
It created a new trend, like just like when Marvel made... You know, actually, that's different because Marvel just made superhero movies better. Yeah. This created a genre. Like, yeah, there was sci-fi, but there wasn't sci-fi blockbusters like
there was. Like, that was. Like
this. Like, there was nothing like this. This was something new. Star Wars is its own thing.
There was life before and life after Star Wars. Like, that's how big this thing is. Like, there's not many movies that are like that. There's a couple.
Like, so many people's careers have started off of Star Wars reviews or websites off of Star Wars.
There's a lot of people's fandom that came from that.
Exactly. Like, that's what said, I want to be a director. I want to be an actor. Yada, yada, yada.
And it's very interesting that that movie has meant that much to so many people, and like you get people from all different ages, all different spans of life. And on our last episode, it was the thing we were talking about the midichlorians that really upsets me, because Star Wars and A New Hope does a great job of this. It's like it's every man, it's every guy, it's every person's dream.
Because remember when they wrote this movie, they didn't write it thinking we're gonna make 9 more and 20 more. We're gonna start a universe. He made it thinking I'm gonna tell a singular story, beginning to end.
That's George Lucas.
Yeah. That's exactly like it's simple to a term, but yet like it's not done anymore like that. People aren't making movies to make movies like they are, but when it comes to these big genre films, it always feels like we're starting where we left off and we're ending where we're gonna go.
Yeah,
instead of just like, hey, here's the beginning, here's the end, enjoy.
Because you could see that first of all, you could see a lot of like the inspirations of like Flash Gordon and all these things like at the ending of A New Hope, but they also make it where it's like, yeah, they could have made more, but that was a singular movie. Like
you could end there. We never got our Star Wars movie, and it'd still be a great movie.
I think Episode 4, A New Hope is everything. I mean, think about the stuff that it introduces. It introduced the lightsaber. It introduced the Force. It introduced Darth Vader. Like the things that are so synonymous in our pop culture.
I mean, we get some of the best characters in Star Wars in general. Even with the new movies, we get maybe the best character in Star Wars, Han Solo.
Chewbacca, everybody's favorite.
Chewbacca.
Yeah, like. And like, you know, over the years, like that, what you just said right there, it's funny because the special editions and everything that came out after it, like it's very rare when people have such an affinity for an old school film where they're like, I don't want it to be upgraded. I don't want you to pretty it up. Like, give me the movie.
The joke of the industry. Like South Park did a great episode about like remastering these movies that no one wants them to be remastered. Like remaster the bad ones.
Yeah.
Go back and remake those movies. But again, we're lucky that we got the VHSs of the good ones. We never had to really. We went back and saw them on TV, and we're like, oh, this isn't what I remember. I don't remember this guy being there. So we got lucky.
What are your before we give a score? What are your lasting thoughts of Star Wars: A New Hope Episode 4?
I mean, it's just crazy. Like you said, it opened up a whole new world. Like we went from not having anything Star Wars to life was half of your life was Star Wars now. Like you added like we were always into Pokemon and superheroes, but then Star Wars came in at a young age, and now you're getting the sheets.
Once you get introduced,
the toys. Like we still have a bunch of things. Like I'm looking at your wall right now, and a third of it is Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars,
Batman, Ninja Turtles, but like it's a lot of Star Wars. Same with my room. Like I have a lot of Star Wars. I got a lot of shirts. I got a lot of my coffee mug is Star Wars. Like my to-go coffee mug is Star Wars.
But he was one of the first people. George Lucas was to like say, fine, you can have the movie rights. I want the marketing and the merchandise. Like
you can't turn your head without seeing Star Wars nowadays, and I love it.
Episode 4 is the reason why there is merchandise.
Oh my god! Like
it's why I'm wearing
so much fun.
Stuff. Like it is what it is.
The Millennium Falcon. So we'll keep talking about it. But my score for this movie, this is probably my second favorite Star Wars movie. So I'm gonna go 4.5.
4.5. This one, again, is a pretty easy one. You're going to notice a trend out of all these. I'm with Alex. This is a 4.5. It is, like I said, there's only one movie that I have ranked higher than this one, and I don't think it's... to me, Star Wars is that representation where it's like it just keeps getting better. That's the best. That's the part of it. It's like you're never let down. And this movie, like you said, it's everything. It's everything. It's the reason why pop culture is the way it is. So I'm with you. It's a 4.5, and it's just a fun movie. You could show anybody any age, and it's gonna be timeless.
It's probably the best way to get someone into Star Wars is probably showing them that.
Yeah.
Or in this case, maybe The Force Awakens because it looks a little newer because it's almost the same movie.
Which is crazy because that's why The Force Awakens worked.
Exactly. We'll get into why it's very similar movies and why that's okay. But I guess we can get into Empire Strikes Back. And again, we'll say it's your favorite. And to me, I'm not going to say it's overrated. I won't. It's just, it confuses me why it's everyone's favorite. When to me, I like the other two so much more.
Well, let me go ahead and
explain
do
it to me.
Let me do this justice. First of all, Empire Strikes Back. It's the only movie that all I need to say is one word from the title, and everybody knows, and they go to that moment, and they just the glee in their eye. All you need to say is Empire. When you say that, no movie has enthralled a generation into what it is. When it comes to the battle on Hoth, when it comes to the first time you see Luke Skywalker fight Darth Vader. When you find out that Darth Vader is his father, spoiler alert. I mean, it made Star Wars as big as the fans thought it was in their mind in the 70s, and it just happened. The world that they thought in their mind was as big as they thought it was became that in the movie theater. It was the equivalent, except on a bigger scale, of when we saw the Avengers assemble for the first time. We're like, they actually did something that was in my mind, and they put it on the screen. Empire did that. They're going to different planets. It's different space battle, different creatures, more fights, deeper, enthralling storytelling. And obviously it wasn't directed by George Lucas.
Okay, so here's my thing. I think it's going to go back to, because I agree with all your points. And I do love this movie. It's just my least favorite of those three. I think my problem with it is the time I watched it. Because I was a young kid. And when you're a kid, this movie really gets the nerdiness to a new level. Because it's a very adult film. It's very good. Like, it's very well written. Like, you can tell. And I think the time I watched it, maybe a lot of it went over my head. Because when I rewatched it when I got older, I loved it. I was like, okay, I do love this movie. Sure. It's just I don't love it I don't have the fond memories as the other ones. Because, like you said about Darth Vader, well, we were alive 20-something years after that movie. I knew he was his father already because everyone had spoofed it. So right, yeah. I guess that didn't get me as much. Like, I get your points, but in my head, I'm like, that wasn't me, though, because I already had known that. So that doesn't hit me as hard. It's a lot of jumping around. It's great scenes. But to me, it was so much. I tell you, when they get to Lando, I'm like, I know he's bad because
Sky City. Yeah.
He's bad. Like, he's just a bad guy. Like, they're saying it. Like, they already took the damn robot. Like, so I guess none of that gets me. And then the way it kind of like, and I guess as a kid, when you see the good guy lose, it messes with you.
But like, the
and
good
you're
guy
like, wow,
loses.
the good guy loses, and like, they didn't get Han back. Like, what the hell is going on? And maybe that's why the memories aren't as good. But rewatching it, it's a great movie.
It's one of my favorite. And like, again, by the time I saw Empire, I like, obviously, like, we saw it around the same time that Phantom Menace came out. We were talking about that story in the last episode, but. You know, Empire, as I got older, there's this appreciation. And really quick shout out to Irvin Kershner, who was the director of Empire Strikes Back, not George Lucas. So
I don't like him. He's kind of an asshole. Good guys should always win, honestly.
But it's the best storytelling in that thing, and it also shows where the growth that our heroes have to go through, because the difference between Luke and Empire to Return is huge. And like, it is one of those things where without Empire, the levity, the importance of Star Wars isn't there. Star Wars, A New Hope, created its launching pad. Empire said, we are legit. This is a movie. This is not some Saturday morning cartoon. This is a movie. This is a staple. This is a franchise. It started the franchise. I mean, it's huge. Empire's huge.
No,
Empire's
I agree.
everything.
I think it said it best. Is like, to me, it's the best written Star Wars movie that's ever came out. It's still not the best Star Wars movie, though, because I think when you start taking into consideration everything, the movie we're going to talk about next is the greatest Star Wars movie, and I don't think anything's going to beat it just because of everything that happens in it.
But I Love You, I Know. I mean, there's just Empire, to me, Empire. And again, I don't even have to give it the whole title. Like, Empire is such a...
It's like to me, it's the original movie where it's like, okay, we're setting you up. It's not like the first, because I like the first one that it's a singular story.
Yeah.
And I guess, again, back to not only was it a little drawer for me as a kid, but I like it as an adult. It started that whole thing I talked about last episode I didn't like. It was like, okay, now I know where we're starting. And now we know we got to do another movie. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's when it started getting a little too franchisey for me, which it needed to do.
But it became that.
It had to become one. I mean, and I'm just talking to the guy that likes the next one, which is probably the biggest. Now we're a franchise. Like, now we're everything. We know what we are.
Right, we're
here to sell. We're here to do this. We're here to do this. So
why don't you go ahead and give it a score?
Okay, my score. I mean, like I said to everyone, like, they're all going to score high. It's a 4.5. It's just my least favorite because I guess in the age I watched it at, and I couldn't appreciate it until a couple watchings later. But again, you gotta let the good guys gotta win.
Now we are Star Wars week, which means we're finally at the end of the year. We're getting into award season. There's only been a few of them I've given out this year. Obviously, this isn't a this year movie, but it's one of the rare fives that we're gonna give on this show. To me, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back is a 5 out of 5. It is as close to a perfect movie, especially in this genre, that you could ever get, and it lives on to this day. It is what every Star Wars movie is graded upon and looked upon.
If you would like to support Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Find us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. Keep up to date with the show on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Mercado21Alex. Follow Mike on Twitter at mmercado2333 and on Instagram, Mike Mercado2333. Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
Now, a lot of people's favorite is an Empire. A lot of people's favorite is
the right answer, the best one.
Maybe the one filled with little teddy bears at the very end.
Adorable little teddy bears.
Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi has a really cool opening scene.
The best opening scene in all the movies.
Return of the Jedi is awesome. Return of the Jedi is great. It's so great. Return of the Jedi has an amazing opening. Return of the Jedi, I think, is more of a Indiana Jones-esque type of Star Wars movie, where it's more of a pirate type of movie, an action adventure. Let's have some fun.
Like you're really selling the movie great. Like
it's a great movie.
That's why it's the best movie. Yeah,
but it's not. That's not why it's the best movie.
We get the best Luke, because the problem with Luke that I had, I think what's funny is I think Luke's probably like the worst part of the original threes. Part of it is because he's so annoying when he starts off, and even in Empire he's kind of an asshole. And I think in Return we finally get he kind of knows what he's doing. Like he gets it. Like
Return is more
he's
mature.
Done his training. He's mature. He's at that level now where we get Obi-Wan and Phantom Menace, where it's like, I know my job. I'm a Jedi. I need to go try to help my father. Yoda's passed away. I'm helping my friends. I got my sis. Well, he doesn't find out to the end, but he knows.
Right, but I feel he's always known. But I feel that
it's a little weird.
But I feel like when it comes to Luke, more specifically, Empire shows more the human of Luke, and it makes Anakin much more sympathetic.
I don't want a human. I want a superhero.
He's not though, and he wasn't.
He has the Force powers. He's a superhero.
No, he's not. And they've done a great job on the marketing of The Last Jedi, where Luke Skywalker is not Anakin Skywalker. He's not cocky. He's not brash. Luke Skywalker's a flawed person.
We'll get into that when we see the new movie. We'll talk about that, but. Like I said, I think it's the best one for me because we get one of the best opening scenes ever. They get Han Solo back.
Yeah.
We get all the cool guys. We get we get a cool escape scene. Like there's so much stuff. We see Jabba.
Yeah.
Jabba's great, and the way he looks is great.
He gets his comeuppance.
We get in that one scene, we get 3 escapes.
Yeah.
And it's great. We get Leia. We get Boba, and I think it's just a fun scene. The middle's great. We get the death of Yoda. We get the big reveal. And we get to meet little Wookiees.
And I think the Wookiees are a little overrated, to be honest with you. I think the Wookiees are kind of, the Ewoks. I can't believe I just said the Wookiees.
Yeah, I said little Wookiees.
Okay, sorry, that's what threw me up. The Ewoks are fine. I mean, they're kind of creepy when it comes to the type of characters that they are. But I don't think that they're they're not a detriment to the movie. I think a lot of people give them a hard time when it comes to the Ewoks. But I think that's the first instance in which you can really say, maybe they're definitely more into making toys than they are making sure that this is the best movie possible. Because there is a difference between the toneness of Empire to Return. You could totally tell that there was a mandate somewhere where it's like, we got to make this one a little bit more kid-friendly.
It felt like they knew what they were doing because you did have to. You have to sell this. I'm this was before the whole rating system was what it was, and they were still kind of figuring it out. I'm not sure. It was one of Spielberg's movies, I thought, that changed the rating, but it was around this time where they're like, what's PG, what's PG-13?
Yeah, because...
we see these little bears kill people. They're killing stormtroopers. They're playing their dead heads.
Yeah, and then obviously we get the turn of Darth Vader.
We get a redemption. Again, Star Wars at the end of the day is redemption stories of at the end of the day, maybe the prequels kind of ruined it. What we thought, this man was just, like I said, he was torn. He didn't know what to do. And the Force is strong, bad or good. So, but he turns at the end. He saves the day. He's the real hero,
He's the hero. I mean, he really did fulfill the prophecy of he's the one who kills the Emperor.
And then Luke breaks his neck. Oh, wait, that's Family Guy.
Family Guy.
That one's my canon, though.
Yeah, that's your canon, yeah.
That's the canon.
What the hell, man?
I was going to survive.
So why don't we go ahead and grade Return? This is your favorite, so why don't you go ahead and tell us So you think this is an easy 5?
It's the best. I think it's the best movie because it goes back to the original. It's singular. Because I think Empire sets up a little too much, but I mean it does a good job setting up the best one. It has the best ending. It's such an emotional ending. The Force goes. They're all hugging. Luke and Leia hug, and Han and Leia are together, and Chewie's there with Lando, and these little bears, and all the robots, and it's just, as a Star Wars fan, you're like, you could stop here, and I'm good. Like I'm very happy with this.
Yeah, I love Return of the Jedi.
We never had to go more forward, even with the prequels. If they would have started those 6, we could have lived.
I love,
but. Obviously, we're going to, we got something good still.
Love Return of the Jedi. It's one of my favorite ones. I give it a 4.5. I mean, again.
All high scores.
They're all high scores. I mean, the original 3 are everything when it comes to cinema. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the easiest scores that we ever had to give. But, and what's so fascinating about these movies is how much of an impact that they made that little did we know how important The Force Awakens would become to pop culture again, to cinema, where it would crush box office records. It would do everything, and it empowered women with Rey being the main character. You have just these broad minorities taking over these characters now, and including into The Last Jedi that's coming out. Episode 7, The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams coming in and having a task that was hard.
I mean, it's coming off the prequels. Like, you had a lot of pressure. Like, not only is it Star Wars, it's coming off the prequels.
First Disney.
First Disney, because, I mean, remember, again, South Park doing its job. Yeah. This was a joke where, like, Disney's going to ruin Star Wars. And, oh, my God, hindsight being 2020, what Disney has done with it.
Isn't that crazy?
Made it better than ever.
It's crazy.
But, again, what a pop culture thing that, like, it became so big again. Like, it was like, oh, my God, Star Wars back. Wacky races, like, it's back. Like, Star Wars is back,
Star
everyone.
Wars is back.
Like, where's my stuff? Like, where's my old shirts? Like, I need a new Chewbacca costume, y'all. Like, oh, my God. Like, where's my lightsaber?
I to this day, I when that first trailer dropped, when those tickets went on sale, just everything about The Force Awakens just solidified how important it is. And, like, I remember as, like, the superhero, the MCU started developing more, and, like, the DCU was trying to get it off the ground, and I was wondering, like, can a movie like Justice League or Avengers be the impact that Star Wars was?
Avengers can, I think.
But here's the thing:
they've earned it.
Sure, but this is where I disagree. This is where I disagree in the sense of this. We're talking about a movie that came out in the 70s that was an independent
film. There you
film,
go. That's what
and we're talking about a movie that's 10 years in the making now with this Avengers.
It has a Star Wars that helped it out. Like,
it's
that
crazy.
created the franchise.
Yeah, without Star Wars.
It's the modern day version, I would say. Like, especially Infinity War coming up, like, because that's probably going to make another $200 million.
Star Wars out too. It's like in a world where
Disney makes $5 billion.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
But imagine a world in which Kylo Ren and Snoke don't exist. That means Thanos is the big bad guy in all of cinema. That's how big The Force Awakens was. That's how big Star Wars was. That it overshadowed Christopher Nolan's Batman series and the Avengers so far. Like, it has crushed all these things that we thought were the pinnacle because we saw the struggles perceived struggles of the prequels.
Exactly.
And for The Force Awakens to hit the way it did. And, like, what did you think about the movie in general?
I love the movie, and I think people's comparison, like, oh, it's too much of A New Hope. And I'm like, well, 2 good things are still good things, right? Like, I love A New Hope. Why wouldn't I love this? Like, it was just different enough. We get 4 great new actors portraying big roles in this universe. It expands a little bit. We get to see more different sides to it. And again, Disney does a great job advertising this and selling this movie to you as this is our new universe, but it's the same you remember, like member berries.
Yeah, I remember.
And I guess that's what the joke was like, it's very similar. And I'm like, that's okay to me. Like more movies need to think about that. Like, if it worked then, I think that's why something like Jurassic World worked to the extent it did. It's not a great movie, but it had enough remembrances of the original that we're like, you know what? And I like Chris Pratt. I like it. You know what? I'll give you get $200 million also.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no kidding. And then
you get $1 billion, just you.
Fallen Kingdom.
With the new trailer that came out, so that's going to be great.
So it should be really interesting. So, why don't we go ahead and score Episode 7, The Force Awakens, the reignition of this Star Wars boom that we're seeing here in these crazy times we have in cinema.
4.5.
I agree with that. It's a 4.5. It's more than anything, it was impressive that it delivered, that it had all that hype in the world, and J.J. Abrams found the way to bring a movie that
it's what he does. Like that's his job. Like, he revamps the movies enough where it's like, hey, this was cool. Here's my little twist. you love it or like it, you're gonna respect it.
I take that back. It's a 4 even. I'm not.
Oh, you're going 4?
I'm going 4.
Damn, change live on air, Mike.
Yeah, live production.
What happened?
4.
Why do you hate BB-8 so much? Is what I want to know.
Yeah, BB-8.
Is that why you went down?
I was looking down the scoreboard. I'm like, ooh, can I really?
Because you have to live with this.
Can I really give The Force Awakens the same score I gave A New Hope and Return of the Jedi?
I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I thought I was gonna give higher scores to the prequels. I think I was pretty honest with myself about.
Yeah,
they're great. They're 4 out of 5s, but they're not 4.5s or 5 out of 5s.
And in case you're just joining us here, you can actually go back on the network. You can see all our thoughts of the prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3, and of Rogue One. We talk a little bit more of the expanded universe when they're doing about the Han Solo stuff. So like a lot of interesting, and with the news of kind of heating up between Disney and 21st Century Fox, we'll keep you guys. We said this a few episodes back,
a little back
about what that would mean and what kind of news that is. But it'd be interesting, just again, that all these years later, how important it is still to have the rights of those original ones. But those, again, just go back and check those out. Listen to this because it's Star Wars week, baby. You might as well listen to all the episodes and get them in.
And for more Star Wars, so like they obviously have the comics and books, which I think you and me dabble a little bit in that. As much as we'd like to, we wish we had more time to read or know how to read or learn how to. We should really get that book on tape. The video games, I don't know. Have you played the new one?
No,
I really haven't.
I
heard a lot of pay to play.
Yeah, I don't do Loot Crate.
It looks great. You know?
It looks nice.
And
Shiva
I
is the main
think the one
character.
thing that we're more into was the cartoons, which was weird because you really got into Rebels.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get into it. It was a little. That's
Rebels.
when it was a little too Disney for
I
me.
like Rebels. Rebels was good.
I liked the Clone Wars on
Clone Wars is
Netflix
good.
because I thought it was very gritty, raw. We got a lot of Darth Maul background, Obi, Qui-Gon,
Darth Maul
Yoda.
shows up in Rebels.
Oh, see, like I seen clips. Like I feel like I've watched Rebels in clips, but like I won't watch the whole show because like I don't like watching things on Disney XD.
But like, if
I'm
it
a grown man.
But if it wasn't Disney XD, if it was just
put
a
it on
Netflix,
Netflix, people.
If it was just a Netflix original,
I would love it. Yeah, but it's not.
So obviously, what everybody's here for, everybody's excited for you. If you don't have your tickets, you're not seeing it for
you're
a
not
few.
seeing it for
You're not seeing it for a few
I
days.
literally tell my friends that I'm like, they're like, you got your tickets? I'm like, yeah. Like you can't go opening night anymore. Like you got to see it Monday or something.
It's The Last Jedi. I mean, it's the movie everybody's waiting for. Let's go ahead and just let's just get some of these theories out of the way.
Rey's not turning evil.
Is Rey turning evil?
Nope.
Is Rey
I
a
answered that
Skywalker?
already. No, she's Obi-Wan's. That's Obi-Wan's kid, y'all. Come on,
I think
like,
that's
it's a
Obi-Wan's
horrible
granddaughter.
kept secret.
I think
Yeah,
that's Obi-Wan's
okay, granddaughter. Yeah, that's
I
what
think
I
that's
meant,
Obi-Wan's granddaughter.
Age-wise,
does Kylo Ren turn?
he turns good.
I think he doesn't. I think does he kill Leia?
No, because I don't think he killed Han. I think Han killed himself for his whole health. For like he pulled the lightsaber on himself. I think that theory is true. That like when they get close up, that I think Han did it because he had to do it, and it was his time, and he did it to help his son. But I don't think his son actually did it. I think we're gonna find that out. And maybe I'm completely wrong, and he's a dick.
Yeah,
but I just like Adam Driver a lot, so I hope he turns good. And I kind of want them to be good guys together.
It's Snoke Plagueis.
I don't know, dude. That one's the hardest part. Like, I really don't know, and I think maybe we're hyping ourselves up that it's not that important. Yeah. And I hope it's not that important because I don't care. I guess like he's the bad guy. I don't really care. Like I'm more interested in whose Rey's parents are.
It's interesting, yeah.
And if what happens to Carrie Fisher's arc, obviously because of her passing.
Let's go ahead and get into that. Is Carrie Fisher or Luke Skywalker the next main character to go?
See, we have a bet about this because I think Carrie Fisher has to. Like, they got to do something, but it's going to be hard. Yeah. I don't envy that job.
I think she dies.
I think Luke lives. I think Luke's going to more live. It's like an old man kind of thing. Cause like, I think Mark Hamill really does change the dynamic of a movie. Because we knew he was in the last one, but he's really in this one. He's doing the fields for this one. And I think people are noticing, like, I love these new people, but man, do I love having Mark Hamill around. Like, it's not like Harrison Ford's fun. But Mark Hamill's like that next level.
Mark
of, like,
Hamill has fun in these movies still, which you could tell when you're watching him. Like
Harrison Ford, Harrison Ford's other things. He's Dirty Harry, or no, not Dirty. He's
Indiana Jones,
and he's a bunch of Blade Runner. That's what I was thinking. He's Blade Runner. He's some guy with a gun.
Clint Eastwood is.
He's some guy with a gun. Okay. Yeah. But the fun thing is, like, Luke is Luke. He's Luke. Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. Yeah. And I get Joker's voice and everything, but he's Luke Skywalker. When it comes to his face, he's Luke Skywalker.
I agree. And was it Nutcracker or whatever from Jay and Silent Bob the movie?
Exactly. Or The Simpsons, you know.
Yeah, there it is. I personally think that Rey is, like we said, Obi-Wan's granddaughter. Yeah. I think Kylo Ren is going to turn good, but I think he's going to die.
I don't think he dies. I think they're going to try to keep him alive. Too much like the originals.
I think Snoke is a Plagueis because I'm with you. I don't think it matters.
I think it doesn't matter.
I think it doesn't matter. As much as we want it to matter, it doesn't matter.
I think it's just like he's bad, guys.
Yeah,
like, hey, don't forget, we're Disney still. Yeah, no, we don't do bad guys, guys. We do, even our bad guys turn good like Maleficent. Like, we don't we're not going to put emphasis.
They
on
don't
it.
care. They don't care.
But
They
who's
don't
Ray's parents?
Ray, yeah, that's what they're.
That's
trying
what
to
I'm
go.
interested in.
Luke makes it through this movie. He dies in episode 9.
So cliche.
And obviously, I think just because of Carrie Fisher's thing, I think she has a huge arc in the movie. But I think they filmed the scene where she passes away.
They had to, because the way they're talking about it, they're very calm, and I don't know if that's just Disney being Disney or them being like, hey, we did this, like we're done, like we don't want to spoil it, but we're gonna let you know that we're okay. So I guess that kind of is a spoiler to us nerds of like, well, if you're okay, that means you must have finished it, because all they keep saying is like her arc is great in 8.
It's gonna be,
and that's emotional.
Yeah,
like that's emotional because Han was emotional, so this is gonna be emotional.
It's gonna be
too.
so much more because we saw that Han coming like 35 days before we saw. Because
that was the only time I've ever been spoiled on a movie.
You were spoiled, and then I knew it was.
It was just some random thing, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that was messed up.
It was a meme. Like, how did they get a meme out so fast? Like, it was ridiculous.
We saw opening nights.
That's what they get for showing these movies in other countries beside us right away. Yeah. Like, I appreciate that, but show us early. Show us all early.
So yeah, let's go ahead and put a guess on it. We do it for all the major motion ones. How much is Star Wars: The Last Jedi opening to?
$3 billion. Let's go 200 and. Do you know where the last prediction was? It was above 200, but do you know exactly where?
No.
I'm going to go 230 million.
I'm going to go 222.
Oh, that's a dick move.
Just go 222.
Gotcha, 220.
Yeah. So you're going to go 220?
No, I'm going 230 million.
All right, so you're going 230. I think because I
it's going to make well over 200 million. I just don't know if it's like one of those movies that's going to make like way over 200 million or like it's going to make 210. Which, regardless, it's making 200 million, just from pre-sales alone. People.
Yeah, it's gonna crush 200 million. It's gonna be the most.
Like they have such a good time of year because like everyone's out of school, college is out.
The next
people are taking their weeks off already for Christmas.
And the next big film is Jumanji, which is like 2 weeks later. So
and and then The Greatest Showman. So that's during Christmas though. Like everyone makes money on Christmas. This is one of those good things where like everyone's making money.
Yeah,
you know what you're doing at this point. If you're going out what's it against Ferdinand?
Yeah, Ferdinand.
Which is going to make its own money because it's animated. Like I don't think they expect it to make much because they would have put it somewhere else.
Nothing's going to take away from Star Wars.
No.
Nothing. Like, this movie's going to... I don't think it's going to beat Avatar's like long-lasting. No. I don't think it's going to beat The Force Awakens. But I think it's going to be right up there with it.
We'll see. If it gets like great reviews, like Empire reviews, Maybe. It might. I think it might do it because repeat viewings. And if there's some crazy twist in it, then again, I think repeat viewings is going to go above Force Awakens.
Now, here's some little insider stuff for you guys. The director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson, was and is tabbed to create and write, direct, start up a brand new trilogy outside of the Skywalker / current Star Wars storytelling. So we don't know if this means this is going to go back in time. We don't know if this is an Obi-Wan thing. We don't know if this is a we have no idea what this is. Do you your gut reaction when you heard that? What do you think it is?
I mean, I hope it's Old Republic because, like, I've heard so much good about it, but I know nothing about it, and I kind of don't want to yet. Like, I don't want to read anything about it because I want to be surprised when the show comes out and, like, just watch it for the first time. And it's taken a lot of me not to go back and read some of this stuff and, like, watch some of this stuff. But I think that's too, I don't know, like, Disney for some reason has not wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it took them forever for Obi-Wan, like, to really do it. Like, their priorities are a little weird, and I'm not going to question them because, like, a Han Solo kind of came and we're like, could probably done without a Han Solo movie before we wanted Obi-Wan or, like one of these Old Republic movies.
It's true.
But, like, I'm just excited that it's going to be out of it. They're like, hey, I'm doing 3, like, some Christopher Nolan Dark Knight stuff. And it's not going to be the Skywalkers. Like, that means new opportunities for breakout actors, new stories, new creatures, new planets. Like, and, like, in Star Wars, like, as big as the universe it does get a little closed in sometimes. Yeah. Especially with, like, that new video game. I think the problem I don't like the previews is because there's so much old stuff in it. I'm like, I get it. But we do want some new stuff after a while. Like,
we need to move
this
on.
is going to be after, like, what, 12 movies already? Like, okay, it's
time.
It's time.
Yeah, it's
time to go.
To give us something new. And then episode 9, non-title yet. And here's the funny thing is, after this week, after the premiere, maybe what you think like 2-3 weeks later, we might learn the title of episode 9, who is going to be directed by none other than himself, the guy who rebooted everything. J.J. Abrams is coming back to finish off episode 9.
I don't think we get the answer until around Solo, just to hype up the movie a little more. Like, to get, like, to be more like... Because I think we'll get a trailer first. We got to get a trailer soon.
For Solo, yeah.
Yeah, like,
is there a D22? Is there a D22?
That's in, like, April or something.
But no, is there one this year? Because there's not until next year. Until 2019.
Okay, so but I'm still like we got to get that first. So I think we'll get a trailer first, and then we'll get the announcement of the name, and then we'll get another trailer, and then we'll get the movie.
Maybe May 5th.
Isn't that when does the movie come out? When Solo come out?
I have no idea. I don't think they have a release date for.
I thought they did. I thought they had a release date here. Let me look at it.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you're going to do it based off of that, then I think you would want to do it when you could get the most eyes on it. So you're obviously going to wait to do some type of promotion for The Last Jedi. So you're not going to release them then. And depending on when Ron Howard's Han Solo movie comes out, you might want to do it in Comic-Con, which is in August or in July. So midsummer, but because you have Wonder Woman. No, I think it's in December of this year, isn't it? No, episode 9 is in December.
Okay, it's in May 25th.
So yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, we're gonna get a trailer soon. Like,
5 months
it's
away.
Coming up. Like, we're probably gonna get one early in January.
We just got our first Avengers trailer like 2 weeks back, right?
And that's pretty close to where Solo is. Like,
so
well, they're gonna They're gonna make so much money at the beginning of that year, and I think they got Mary Poppins next year and the Mulan movie. They got a lot.
Disney's racking it up. Alex, this was a crazy. This lived up to the hype, man. It was the Star Wars Spectacular. You know, people, when they hear this, they'll be literally getting their shirts ready, getting their lightsabers ready, getting their Darth Vader mask ready. They'll be getting ready to watch Episode 8. Alex, The Last Jedi is finally here. Your last thoughts before we close down the shop and really get ready to watch the spectacle.
Nah, just pretty pumped about it. Hope we get a not too cold of a night like last year. Excited to be around all the nerds and the geeks, and you know, like I said, just excited for the opening crawl. Like, you know, real giddy, like childlike. Star Wars is always a good time. You know, always repeat viewings, possibly because it's winter break, and you know, I'm just ready for this. It came up kind of fast, and I think that's good. Like, we're living in a time with so many blockbusters that we're distracted up till it, because like you said, it's right around the corner.
Well, guys, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for being a part of this huge Star Wars Spectacular on the Good Brothers here on Mercado Airwaves. We want you to be interactive on the show. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Do us a huge favor. Go visit us on iTunes, itunes.com/Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, and share us. Help us get up those billboards. Every single one of our shows is brought to you by our amazing producers over at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. If you would like to get any one of the Good Brothers episodes, Pizza Night with Nicky and Mike, our UFC interviews, ad-free before anybody else, check us out at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. For all you Android users, for those who use Google, we're on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Mercado Airwaves. And of course, you want to see behind the scenes, I'm on Instagram, Mike Mercado2333. We want you to be interactive. What was your favorite Star Wars? What did you agree with us? What did you disagree with us? What are your thoughts leading into The Last Jedi? What are you excited for the future of this Star Wars universe? I'm also interested, what's your favorite part of the new canon? Has it been Battlefront 2? Has it been the books? Has it been these new movies that have come out? Has it been the cartoons? So many different things for all of us who love this story, this lore, this canon. Thank you so much for being a part of letting me and Alex geek out here on The Good Brothers to discussing one of our favorite things in all of cinema, that is Star Wars. Alex, any last words for the folks before we let them go watch Star Wars The Last Jedi?
Have some fun out there, y'all. Merc it out.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Enjoy the movie. He's Alex Mercado. I'm Mike Mercado. You've been listening to The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves.